Shalom and good day all, this is Tehealing29 back again for manga I have recently read through, and a lot of this manga that you see before me has been read between May and June of 2024. So let's have a bit of a look through the list of the manga that is here. So starting off with first things first, I've been catching up with some Tokyo Revengers, and I must admit, this story almost feels like it's not going anywhere. But that's not to say that there are characters in the story that I like more than Crybaby Takamichi. And if anything, I think he's worse than Deku of what people have said about Deku. At least Deku, in his own way, does learn to fight back against his opponent, but he's not a big Pussy like Takamichi is. So, as we can see here, we've got volumes 9 all the way to 20 of these latest arcs that are in here. And one thing I did sort of like seeing is actually one of the characters going to sort of like a place of worship, and especially in the celebration of Christmas, sort of like within the story, and that was really interesting, and I quite enjoyed that. Next we have Windbreaker, and I must admit, Haruka Sakura, I really like the character. He reminds me a little bit like Yusuke Urameshi, and this is actually one series I wouldn't mind following more than Tokyo Revengers. So I've got volumes 1 to 3 there, which I've read through. Next is volumes 9 to 12 of Blue Lock, which I read through. And I must admit, even though some people I've heard like the story, others are a bit unsure with the story. But as I was reading through these couple of volumes of 9 to 12, it sort of made me think a little bit as to how the sort of like the organizer of this Blue Lock is doing things. And it's almost like, okay, yes, they have like 3-on-3 group battles, but they also have 5-on-5 group battles. And it sort of made me think a bit, what if this organizer is actually trying to sort of like prepare these characters that they can be used in sort of like, not just on the tournament field, but also sort of like just a regular game with like other just ordinary players. So being used in a way to which these characters would be used to bring other people of interest into the game of soccer. Like just a random person who might be thinking about getting into soccer. And the way he sort of organizes things with the members and also with the groups is that they'd be doing things in a way to sort of like, okay, you have some of these members go to a public area and they might decide to play 3-on-3 or 5-on-5. Where on the field or in a tournament field, you might have goodness knows how many players. And that includes the opposition altogether. And that includes people who sit on the seats, who get swapped out and whatever. These characters do have a place, and I think the main character in this story might be setting these characters up to sort of like go into different fields to bring more people into loving and enjoying soccer. And that's the way it sort of like came across in these volumes that I was reading of 9 to 12. Next, we have Fist of the North Star, to which this story picks up way after the last volume, volume 11, to which we had, we learned of Yuria and her place. And this is just completely different. It feels like it started a new story. And in this new story, we end up meeting someone else who's sort of like ruling over a certain territory. And we have the main character of Ken doing what he does in the story. Very crazy. Next, we have Romantic Killer. Now, I have watched the anime series of Romantic Killer. And quite a while ago, I picked up this manga. Only realizing that this manga is actually all color inside. Where with some manga, you have like certain color panels. You read through this, it's all color. I mean, it is literally all color. It keeps pretty much to the key of everything that you see in Netflix in relation to the story. But there are like additional little things, but you also get the things as well from the creator of the story. And you also sort of learn that this story actually was in a way a bit of a, I guess, a Japanese webtoon type story. But just not on a webtoon. It was a Japanese webcomic story. And this webcomic story ended up becoming an anime series, which was seen on Netflix, to those who've watched it on Netflix. The characters in that are kept pretty much the same, so not much I can do to fault about it, but I will get the things as soon as I finish off with the last one in relation to the area of Fruits Basket. Another, in this, we've basically followed a daughter of sort of like the main character of this series, and we get to see some of the things that take place with her being in high school, and also some of the people that she meets. I do wonder how many of these new characters that she meets are also connected to the original characters, and maybe I'll probably find that out by the time I finish volumes 3 and 4, because there's only 4 volumes to this series. So now, time to jump to the rating of these. So now it's time for the rating of the manga. So for the Tokyo Revengers, I'll start off with the first 3 volumes that we see here, or the 3 omnibus volumes that we see here on the left-hand side. And I think for it, I'm going to just give it a 7 out of 10. For the next 3 volumes, so 15 to 20, I will give a 7.5 out of 10, as it did sort of pick up mainly in the area of other characters, not so much Takamichi, and also trying to learn as to who might be the other person that is causing changes in the background. Maybe it was him all along. Next is Windbreaker. Now, this is a new manga series that I have recently picked up. And I must admit, I really have enjoyed reading through Windbreaker. Especially meeting the character of Haruka Sakura. We also learn of like another person that he ends up meeting from like another group. And I must admit, I've really come to like Haruka. And also the character known as Choji. Now, Choji is sort of like from another group of sort of like ruffians in a way. And somewhat delinquents, but he is a character that I've really come to like just in reading these 3 volumes. So for this, I give a straight 8.5 out of 10, and that's probably higher than what I probably gave Tokyo Revengers in my early readings. Next, we move into Blue Lock. As I brought up before, it feels to me like the person who's organizing the Blue Lock, like within the world of Blue Lock, that they're trying to set up certain groups to go into certain areas to try to bring more people to come to enjoy soccer, whether it's to turn up in a stadium or just watch it at their local park. For this, I'm going to give it a 7.5 out of 10 for these volumes that are here. For the latest Fist of the North Star, I do sort of feel like this story dropped a bit. And for this, I'm just going to give it a 7 out of 10. I liked the last volume, but this volume sort of dropped. For Romantic Killer, what you see is also what you get in the anime as well as in the manga. So for this, I'm just going to give it an 8 out of 10 for all 4 volumes. And last but not least, for Fruits Basket, another. Until I'm a little bit more invested in the characters of this particular series, or these particular volumes, I'm going to give it a 7 out of 10. Well, until then, let's keep it colourful and have yourself an awesome day.